Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of factoring polynomials with 4 terms. If you haven't watched part 1, please go back, watch part 1, and then that will give you the basis of understanding what we're doing today. Again, from part 1, I said if you have 4 terms, those are the easiest polynomials to factor. Look at the coefficients. Do they have any common factor? Factor that out first. And then also look at the ordering of the polynomial. Is it ordered the right way? And we said what that means is the exponents have to be in descending order, starting with the highest. And then if that is all okay, deal with the first 2 terms and deal with the last 2 terms alone. What I mean by that is if you're given 16a to the third plus 8a to the second, how would you factor that? And then if you're given minus 6a minus 3a, how would you factor that? So looking at the first 2 terms, what is common? Looking at the constants, they already have factors. For example, 16 can be broken down into 8 times 2, and then 8 can be broken down into 8 times 1. So if I factor out 8a squared, what will I be left with? Here, I'll be left with 2a plus 1, right? So remember, if you distribute, this has to give you whatever you started with. And then looking at the next 2 terms, minus 6a minus 3, you can factor out the minus because it's common. And then 3 and 6, you can factor out the 3, right? 3 can be written as 3 times 1. So I'm factoring out the minus 3 and I'm remaining with 2a plus 1. So remember, whatever we have in the parentheses has to be identical, right? And that is the first thing you have to look at to see if you're on the right track. If it's not, maybe you made a mistake somewhere and you need to go back and rectify that. So I'm on the right track. So I'm going to combine what is outside the parentheses. What I mean is 8a squared minus 3, and then into 2a plus 1. Because this is appearing twice, I can write it once, and then combine what is outside the parentheses. So that's how we deal with that. And then let's look at the last example before we introduce something new. Again, factor the first 2 terms, and then the last 2 terms together. And then first look at the ordering of this polynomial. Are the exponents in descending order? I see they are. So looking at 10 and 25, they already have the greatest common factor here is 5. So if I factor out 5m squared, I'll be left with 2m minus 5. And then looking at the next 2 terms, what is common? 4 and 10, what would you factor out? So I would factor out 2, right? So plus 2, and then in brackets, I'll be left with 2m minus 5. So remember, whatever you end up with in brackets has to be the same. So I'm calling these brackets, but some others call it parentheses. So whatever you end up with in parentheses has to be identical. So this is identical, so we're on the right track. So you combine what is outside the parentheses. So 5m squared plus 2 into brackets 2m minus 5. So that is what we end up